Well, I had to dig out the 4.6 liter engine harness out of the shed so I could rob my compressor connector off of it. So that's my compressor. So I can cut the wires out of it after I verify that the wire colors are correct. Make sure that it's actually the right connector. Well, I feel like I've gotten a lot of progress, and I also feel like I'm just not getting anywhere at the same time. That's just kind of how this goes. So I've got my the 4.6 compressor that lives down there. I've got the pigtail spliced to the Coyote wiring, and then the Coyote wiring actually runs to this connector here. So I've got the engine bay side here is all factory wiring except for the pigtail at the bottom, and then on the top side up here, what I did is I just tagged the cut the one purple wire with a white stripe, put a terminal on it, and then I can make a quick disconnect here, basically so the body harnesses can still remain somewhat separate. And then I started routing and wiring my stuff going across here. I added a vacuum line to the 2003 vacuum dash system for the air registers, air doors. I just went to the T-tap over there on the brake booster. That was a factory tap there. It just had a cap on it, so I pulled the cap off, tapped into that, and I'll run that. All this will stay condensed with the harnesses. And then this is my AC relay that's gonna do the job that my PCM used to do. So last but not least, I need to wire my AC coil wire to my my other pin there, and then this other wire is going to be a fan request switch, so that I can command the cooling fans on with the AC on. Well, it's time to call it a night and finish wrapping up out here. So I've got the fuse box all put back together, and I got my wire tray up here put in, and that hides everything that was running left to right pretty well. So this is my vacuum line I showed you earlier, and then it comes out over here, and then this is my other two harnesses I was showing you and building it out earlier. And then so there's my vacuum T with some sort of diaphragm there. And then the last thing out here I need to do is going to be putting in my fan wiring into the PCM connector. Get the last wheel and tire put on it, and go ahead and get it running and up to temperature, and make sure I don't have any fluid leaks out of my coolant temp sensor or my transmission temp sensor that I added. And then I'll get it back on the ground. So this is why you always want to check your work. So I've got a small drip from the transmission fitting, so I need to track down where it's leaking from and address that before I set it all the way back down on the ground. Well, I learned something new. Found out that the NPT threads actually require Teflon tape on them, so that's why I had so much leaking issues. I had quite an epic battle with that fitting before I found that out, and looks like I finally got it fixed. So should be ready to set this thing on the ground and get it out on the road, and or at least clean up the garage a little more and maybe do inside wiring here this week. But that's what's going on. Good morning. I've got my inside stuff all figured out for the temperature gauges. This is my 2015 diagram for the PCM connector, well, one of the two PCM connectors, and I need pin 17 out of that guy, which is like 100 and something pins. And the wire is supposed to run from here over to the battery junction box. So right in here somewhere should be the wire I'm after. So I'm going to pull some of the insulation out, and that's going to be my fan request wire, if you will. So the way the cooling fans work is the control module, powertrain control module, PCM, whatever you want to call it, is turning on two different relays in here, one for low, one for high, essentially. There is a third magic relay in there that tricks it. But anyways, so what I want to do is have a switch inside the cab that I can tag the basically mimic what the PCM's doing to force the fans on early. So I need to find that wire, add my wire to it, put a little diode for backfeeding issues, and we'll be good to go. It's just that fun part of, you know, getting to it. I've got my wire identified here, and we're going to do a quick test just to make sure that we have the right wire. But I wanted to try it with the engine actually running, so I can force them on and off with that, grounding that wire. So I'm going to work on, now that I know for sure that I have the correct wire, I'm going to work on actually connecting that the way I want to. Not the prettiest job, but it worked. So I've got my diode in here, and it's in line with the PCM wire. So this will prevent my grounding switch inside the cab from backfeeding up into the computer. So now I just got to get all this taped up where it's not going to have any issues with rubbing and chafing, and then get the harness itself taped back up, and we'll be ready to rock. So the good news is my transmission gauges and my water temp gauges are working correctly. Alright, the sun's really bright there. So nice to have those done finally. Bad news is my AC is not working, so it's hot as balls in this car. Sweating my ass off, but I did at least get the AC charged up, so now I can figure out why my compressor's not coming on. Well, I got the wire diagram book out, trying to figure out what's going on with my AC, and did some digging around and quickly found out that I have no voltage on my AC fuse here. So that is my AC clutch relay wire. That's this guy here. So that's that fuse. So I need to figure out the other side of that, where that power came from, and because this wire is good, but I need to check that side, so I gotta figure out where the power comes from. Did some more digging and found out that that purple wire that supplies the fuse that I don't have power to, which is here, that purple wire goes to what was called a PCM power relay, which I removed because I thought that was just the power PCM. So I need to undo what I did there. I remember I have this wire which I depinned off both sides. So that's going to be this bridge, white with light blue stripe. I need to put that guy back in. I need to put a diode back in, and maybe a fuse, and then I'll figure out, hopefully everything else is still intact. Well, I got all the harnesses and stuff put back in the truck, and got all my fuse box back together, and had it running last night and verified I do have AC finally. So I'm very happy that I have AC again. I'm still unsure of how much that low speed fan is going to do long term for cooling effects, especially in the heat of the day. I have a feeling that it's probably going to be adequate but not ideal. So what I mean by that is last night when it was running, the compressor was not cycling, meaning that I wasn't getting optimal heat exchange on the condenser. So I think that, I mean, it felt decently cool in the cab, but I think I may end up having to do a high-speed fan as well, or high-speed trigger switch as well. Well, like I said, that's to be determined. So that's what's going on, and means I can actually start driving this truck for real. So I'm looking forward to driving it 1 or 2 days this week and putting some more miles on it. And I'll know very quickly if the AC is going to keep up or not in the heat of the day. I will let y'all know, keep y'all updated along the way. Thanks for checking out my videos, and see you soon.